You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Lou Need Lewis, and today I have the honor of introducing a very special guest to the show, Angela Taylor. She is mostly known for creating the productive flow mastery methodology, her integrative whole body approach to productivity and business growth. And I have to tell you, it is her mission to help ambitious, purpose-driven entrepreneurs such as yourselves to overcome stress, chaos, and create the life and business that you ultimately want and desire. And she did this by finding her purpose. And today we're going to talk about her morning routine, and we're going to talk about how she started it all. So with no further ado, Angela, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. It's an honor to have you. So before we dive right into productivity and business growth and mindset, go ahead and give us a little synapse of your journey thus far.
Ooh, journey thus far. That is a long thing. So I'm going to just shorten that for you and let you know that, like many entrepreneurs that I've connected with, a lot of the issues that we face have stemmed from childhood experiences.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean that you've had some sort of horrible traumatic childhood where you were abused, although it can. Yeah. It just means that a lot of times well-intentioned parents who are still healing themselves say things and do things that aren't necessarily the most positive experiences for their children. I've done that myself, so I understand. Yeah. But what happens is over time, we have all of these blocks that create a need in us to feel safe and secure at all times. So we really fight change, and we have a lot of blocks around what might come our way or what things we want to build and create in the world, because there's a feeling of we can't, we're not good enough, we're all the things that somebody told us we were, and we really don't believe those things on a conscious level, but on a subconscious level, they're still driving us. Yeah. And so I was very much like that. That was my experience as a child. And then growing up, I was very independent and fought every rule and everything that my parents wanted me to do. And I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be this. I'm not who you think I am. You know,
a little rebellious,
total rebel, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And so I just went right into getting married and then waited a long time. We were actually together for 7 years before we had any kids. But by the time my kids were 5 and 2, I realized that I was in the wrong relationship with the wrong person for the wrong reasons. And so I set off on a journey of being a single mom and breaking free from a very toxic relationship with a man who is in his own right a wonderful person, has a great sense of humor and can be a lot of fun, but was bipolar and didn't want to deal with that or accept that fact. So it was creating a lot of emotional drain from me. Yeah. And so I had to be a single mom. I spent 6 years as a single mom and trying to be an entrepreneur at the same time, which I did, but it was a struggle.
How many kids?
I had 2 at that point. Since then, I've met my current husband, who also had 2 kids from his previous marriage. And then we had one together. So we ended up raising 5.
Nice.
And homeschooled all those kids. And our youngest now, our together one, is 7. Mm-hmm. And the other 4 are grown and out of the house. So we've been together for 11 years now. So it's been quite the journey. But it taught me everything that I teach others. Mm-hmm. Because when I was in that space of being a single mom and really struggling just on the day-to-day, putting food on the table,
right.
Waiting on a client who just wasn't paying me on time to pay me so that I could go to the grocery store. The basic needs were not being met. And I realized that I wanted to be the person that helps support those people. And I knew that that's where I was going to go. That's who I wanted to be, because I didn't have that support and I didn't have anything other than books and radio and PBS specials and things like that at that point to really help me have a strong voice guiding me and supporting me and helping me feel like I was on the right path and I knew what I was doing.
Yeah. So you learned it by the bootstraps, right? So you learned by being in advance, by doing it yourself. And
absolutely,
you've learned some things along the way. And now, congratulations, by the way, for surviving 6 years as a single mother and running your own business. You've learned a lot about how to prioritize. So let's talk about that for busy moms, busy parents, and single parents out there who are struggling to prioritize me time, kids time, the household, being a caretaker in general.
Yeah. So I'll tell you that when I really pulled it all together was when we had 4 kids and they were between the ages of 11 and 17. Mm-hmm. And I had a newborn baby that I was breastfeeding constantly because, that's what you do. Yeah. Never stop. And I was coaching 40 clients.
Wow.
And I was teaching 3 live classes per week that were 2 hours each. And I was homeschooling the 4 older kids. And we had a lot of dietary and allergies and things like that in that household. Mm-hmm. So everything had to be made from scratch food-wise. And I was doing all of that and keeping a clean house and spending time with my husband 1-to-1. And we literally had breakfast and lunch and dinner together every single day, all 3 meals.
What's your secret?
And and I had time to myself. And I was able to do all of that all at one time. And really the secret was really understanding how I was spending my time before. Because I realized this, and this happens to a lot of entrepreneurs, is that we get ourselves moving and fast forward because we're always trying to outrun this feeling of something is going to get us, something is going to hurt us, something is going to create some sort of negative experience in our lives. And if we run fast enough and hard enough at something else, then that won't happen.
I see.
And so it's really starting to understand where those childhood experiences are creating stories and beliefs for us that really hold us back, and how it's holding us back. Mm-hmm. So in my case, I had so much chaos around me for so many years because I was always trying to get to this thing or that thing or that thing and not looking at where I was actually going. And so creating some awareness around what those childhood experiences have taught us. And if those are just old stories that need to be thrown out,
How do we tune them out?
It's really understanding where they are and reminding ourselves, hey, it's not even something that you have to tune out specifically so much as saying, I see you. I'm aware of you. Mm-hmm. Thank you for showing me what it is that I need to see. And then saying, you know what? I've dealt with you.
I see.
I don't believe that anymore. And you can go. You don't need to be here anymore. Yeah. You're free to go. And so it's not saying I'm going to tune this out. I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to turn around and not face it. It's looking at it, facing it, seeing that this is something inside of you that's truly loving you and trying to keep you safe. And you're saying, thank you. Yeah. I appreciate that. But I'm beyond that now. I don't need you anymore.
Right. It's almost like they was really created to solve a problem for you. You needed the protection at an early age because that's what habits are for. They're designed to solve your problems. They're designed to save you and protect you. Your brain is magnificent in that way. And so I am hearing you, Angela, and you're saying, acknowledging that it's there and then thanking it for protecting me over all these years, 30 plus years. But now for me to get to the next level, I'm going to have to let go.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
That's fascinating.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It is so fascinating. It's so amazing. And then if you have a hold on that, and then you ask yourself, where is it that I really want to go? Mm-hmm. It's like when we get in our car, the first thing we do is program our GPS with our desired location. This is where we're going to go, right? You don't get in the car and say, I just feel like taking a drive and I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to go somewhere. Yeah. And you just drive around randomly until you find a stop. We don't do that. We sit down, we program our GPS. We say, this is where we're going. This is where our location is. Mm-hmm. We don't do that in our lives. And so we may have a specific goal, like, I want to do this, or I want to do that, or I want to earn this amount of money, but it's not the actual location we want to get to. It's what we think is going to provide the means to get to that location. It's more like going after the directions instead of the actual location you want to get to. And so I call that setting your GPS, because that's what we're doing, but we're setting the GPS on our life. So once we understand what's holding us back, and then we can say, hey, this is where I really want to be. And it's looking at your life and saying, this is what I want to create. This is what I want to have. This is who I want to be, how I want to feel. Then now we can then do what I call time journaling and time analyzation.
Okay.
When we know where we're going and we're not letting the things stop us anymore, then we can say, okay, well, how am I spending my time now without having to change anything? Just make a journal like you would if you were keeping a food diary, right? Just how am I spending my time now? What am I doing now?
What's eating away?
And when you look
eating
at
away
that,
at your time.
Yeah, you look at that after like a week, and then you can see what's going wrong. You can see where you might just be wheels spinning, but not getting anything done, and that's when things really start. I realized that, when we had the 4 older kids, that one of the things that was a huge time suck for me was cleaning the house, keeping the house clean. And I also realized that when the kids were doing something they weren't supposed to be doing, and we were trying to institute some sort of punishment for them, right? That the punishments never worked, because they didn't care if they got their computer taken away, or, they couldn't go out with their friend or something like that. It wasn't as big a deal, but they really hated cleaning the house, really hated it. And I thought, maybe I can put these two things together. And so that's what I did. And somebody inadvertently was always in trouble. And my house was always clean. And I didn't have to touch it. And I didn't have to pay a housekeeper. It was done because somebody was getting in trouble. But that didn't last long, because eventually they started to learn from that. But they did learn how to cook and clean and do all these other things.
Take them off your plate. That's where to delegate.
Exactly. And it solved 2 problems at once. So it really did help. Things like bulk cooking were things that we instituted, where we started cooking things that could be separate, so that everybody could put a meal together that worked for them, instead of me fighting to create a meal that everybody's allergies and dietary restrictions could handle. So
how do you apply that in the business?
Oh, yeah. So, with the business, one of the things that I did was realize, where my time was going, how I was spending it, and where there were leaks or holes, kind of like I did with the household, right? And so, like right now, my work schedule is Monday through Thursday from 9 to 2, and only the first 3 weeks of the month. And I get more done now than I ever did before, because I understand how important having that life balance is, and how important it is to take that time off. Because when I take that time off and I have that time to really rejuvenate myself, my soul, my spirit, my mind, right? All of that, I don't feel emotionally drained. I'm not looking for distractions. I'm not creating chaos. I'm not spinning my wheels. I can sit down, get something done, and feel really good about it.
Right.
And because I knew the location by setting my GPS, I knew the location I wanted to get to was, I started to really hone in on what that, looking at what life I wanted to create. I reduced a big part of my one-to-one clients down to 8, only have 8 spots, because of the fact that I knew I only wanted to do 2 one-to-one clients per day, and I didn't want to work Fridays. So I said, okay, well, I'll have a 9 o'clock, I'll have an 11 o'clock, and I'll do those Monday through Thursday, 8 clients. Yeah. There it is. That's the limit. And then I realized that if I went too many weeks in a row, I felt drained. So that's why I started taking off that 4th week, and I built it into my programs. And now my programs were only those calls, which were 45 minutes. So I had an hour break between them to decompress. And then I also knew that at the end of 3 calls, that was it for them for the month. And I had that week break. I wouldn't have created that if I hadn't have thought of how I wanted my life to look, how I wanted it to feel. And then I applied that to my business by creating my programs and my structures and everything around it.
Yeah, there's something powerful with time blocking and actually allowing yourself that time to be creative and to get much more done versus, 8-9 hour days when you're only productive for 2 hours, 4 hours of those days. You can be productive.
Yes. And it's important to realize when you feel productive and when you don't. And that's why the time journaling really does take a lot of help, creates a lot of help for you and understanding kind of where you're at. Because if you notice, like every day for me, every day around 2:00, I started to feel like I was drifting off. I'm like, I'm just not feeling it. But I would keep working and then not getting anything productive done, feeling like I was supposed to be. Right?
Yeah. So there's this, what we call the chronotype quiz to find out exactly what your productivity hours are during the day to utilize it, almost like optimize your productivity instead of working against your body. So you work with your body and you find out when's the best time to go to sleep, when's the best time to take that nap or that walk during the day, or the best time to actually wake up in the morning to start your day. So now I know you say you do 9 to 12. So tell us about 9 to 2, my bad. Yeah. 9 to 2. So tell me about your morning routine. How do you get up, dress up, and show up? How do you get going?
Yeah. So, first thing in the morning, when I wake up right around 5:30 to 6:00 in the morning, which is my natural body's rhythm of when I wake up in the day. So no alarm, no nothing like that. And then from there, it's really just getting myself up, dressed, and then I go downstairs. When I go downstairs, I'm walking my dog and it's just the normal getting my breakfast together, having my vitamins, taking some time to really belly breaths and meditate and take my time to relax in the morning. So my morning is usually very slow. It's very quiet. And that's what feels really good to me.
Yeah.
And I remember this one time I went to this, it was like a coaching program type of thing. And it was in person. And it was like this 6-week event type of thing. And every morning, it was like once a week. And every morning that I went, they would play this really crazy loud music and get everybody to get up and move and dance. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is the worst way to start my day. Because for me, I couldn't start that way. I needed to start in very quiet, feeling relaxed, feeling like I could breathe and really savor every moment in my day. And getting loud and crazy felt almost overwhelming to me.
Yeah.
And it made me feel distracted and unproductive versus energizing me to be productive. Yeah. And so everybody's different. And I think that it's really important to honor who you are and how you need to start your day.
Yeah.
But for me, it's finding out.
Yeah.
Agreed. For me, it's very important that I start it quiet and peacefully. And that's why I also create those breaks in my day between clients, because I can't go from one client to the next, because I will get to this feeling of being overwhelmed, like I'm taking on too much energy in my body. And I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
So I realized if I could have that break in between them, then I could stop, decompress, relax, have some hot tea. And then I would feel really great about showing up for my next client.
I like that. I like how you prepare yourself to show up. It's how you prime yourself for your clients so that you can bring your best self forward. So that's really, really fascinating. And I love the notion that you have to find out what works for you. And that's why we do the chronotype test at Best Morning Routine, where you can know exactly when's the best time to get up, what kind of animal. Is it a lion? Is it a dolphin? Which will we fall under? And then you got a starting point. And that quiz is on the website. So you can easily have access to it. So I love that you share that, because it's important, because your body is different from everybody else's, literally.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Some people do their best work in the middle of the night.
Yes. Till midnight.
Yes.
They're considered wolves.
Yeah.
Wolves will stay up till midnight, 2 a.m. to work, but they're not morning people at all.
Yeah. See me, if I am making it past 9:00, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
I am definitely a morning person. And
you fall under the lion. Yeah. Early riser, early to bed.
Yes, exactly.
Tell us, how can we find you? How can we connect with you?
Sure. So my new website is coming up right now. It's coming soon page right at this second, but it should be up by the middle of this month.
Yeah.
And that's called angelakristentaylor.com. So you can go there, and I'm sure you'll have a link somewhere in the episode listing, but AngelaKristenTaylor.com. And there's going to be a lot of really great content there. And then we have a group that we run where we have weekly themes and lives and things like that. It's really helpful too. So that's really great.
Awesome. Yes, we'll definitely share that. It's been delightful. Thank you for sharing about knowing those thoughts, those negative thoughts, those beliefs that may be holding you back. Yeah. And you address that. They may not have been negative. They may not have been a traumatic past, but just because parents were healing themselves. I think it's crucial that you mentioned that we need to recognize, like, hey, it's not their fault. Parenting is hard. It's challenging. They're doing the best they can. And sometimes they may say no to you and you registered it as you're not enough, you're not good enough. Because if I was, it would have been a yes to that question. Yes. But it's up to us as adults to take ownership and say, you know what? It's time to relieve myself of that.
Absolutely.
Thing.
Absolutely. And if I could make a really great book recommendation on that topic, it's a newer book that was just recently released by Dr. Bruce Perry and Oprah Winfrey. And it reads like a conversation between the two of them. And it's called What Happened to You? And it's really interesting how they show how little things can set you on a path of believing something that's not true and did not have that intention behind it. And it's just teaches you so much about the way our brains are wired when we're young children, what that wiring is, how it's creating beliefs and blocks in our bodies.
Great recommendation. It goes along with our habit rewiring the brain from trauma, from childhood trauma. Yeah, we'll definitely put the link for Audible for listeners to get a copy of that. I'm going to pick one myself.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
It really
is. It's been such a joy. Thank you for your time today.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Lunid. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you having me on the show today.
My pleasure.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time,